Don't you want to know what's in the documents that Holder and Obama are hiding? Tell me what the justification would be to hide these documents. Let's start with that. Let's take the complete other side. What right do they have to hide documents? Either we live in an open society, in a free society, or we don't. So if we live in a free society, we have a right to see the documents that Obama is now hiding under executive privilege. It's that simple. Now you have to ask yourself the bigger question. What are they hiding? What are they hiding? And why are they hiding it? Well, let me explain it to you. I will explain it to you in plain detail. Page 244, Trickle-Down Tyranny. It's a key chapter in my book. I saved it for chapter 10. Operation Fast and Furious transformed Project Gunrunner into a chaotic, agenda-driven, political fiasco that abandoned its original mandate and became another egghead nightmare put together and then covered up by the president in collusion with Holder's corrupted, incompetent anti-justice department. So I wrote that for you in the book. Now, what was their intent? Page 245. The administration's intent was to use Project Fast and Furious to confirm their bias against the Second Amendment, to demonstrate that gun ownership is dangerous, and that the gun shops in Arizona needed to be shut down. That would be the first step, as I think the administration's logic included, to their being able to argue for the closing of gun shops all around the country. Now, as you well know, Carol Baloney is a gun grabber. She's an anti-gun fanatic, and she made a disgrace of herself today in a way I could not even imagine. Here is an oversight committee on which this woman sits, and she has the nerve to say that we on the oversight committee have no right to have oversight over Obama and Holder. She should be thrown off that committee immediately for taking such a position. It's the equivalent of someone from Syria sitting on a human rights commission saying no one has a right to investigate what Syria is doing with regard to human rights. I found this to be one of the most blatantly subversive criminal operations ever engaged in by any administration in the history of this country. The stated purpose of this project, Fast and Furious, the stated purpose was to trace the gun traffic in order to stop it by apprehending the drug cartel kingpins to whom the guns were delivered. That was the stated purpose. In the process, though, the Department of Justice and ATF higher-ups instructed Fast and Furious operatives to continue surveillance but to cease interdiction. Page 244, Trickle-Down Tyranny. The real reason for ATF allowing high-powered weapons to be walked to drug cartel kingpins in Mexico is far more disturbing. It was designed to generate data so that Barack Obama could prove that U.S. gun shops were responsible for illegal weapon sales and needed to be shut down. The Obama administration had for a long time falsely asserted, quote, that more than 90% of the guns recovered in Mexico come from the United States, many from gun shops that line our shared border, close quote. If great numbers of U.S. weapons showed up at crime scenes in Mexico, the administration's anti-gun position could be bolstered. So some 2,000 high-caliber assault weapons, some sources report up to 3,000, were ultimately sold and delivered in this manner as a result of Obama and Holder, which they're now covering up. And I'll tell you more about it in a moment.